All right, yo, everybody, this is allhiphop.com. It's your man Chuck Creekmer, aka Jigsaw, and I'm here with a good friend of mine. I don't get to say this often. I don't say friend often when I'm interviewing people, but I definitely got one of my good friends, Baofam, on the live transmission in honor of Doe B, a
What's up, Chuck?
rapper who was taken away from us too soon many years ago. But first of all, man, I got to say, shout out to you, brother. You know, congratulations. I know about the somewhat, not all, I don't even know all of it, you know what I mean? But some of the struggle that you had getting to this point of releasing this album, The Last Definition of a Trapper. Um, for the folks out there, the people out here looking at this live, for the people that will see it later, talk a little bit about this album and the process of creating it and how you got to this point.
Well, first off, Chuck, thank you for and all hip hop and Greg for allowing me to talk about this. And, it's been a very difficult road. So I appreciate everything that you're doing. You know what I'm saying? Just to talk about the album, it was very stressful and very painful to deal with this emotionally and then business wise and then street politics wise to put this together. So, there's been rumors where Tip has said he has like 200 songs, stuff like that. But, a lot of them were leaked and then a lot of them were incomplete. So the task to put this together was super difficult, next to almost impossible, because I had to mainly take songs where he did a lot of one verse, one hook type songs, and then take other verses from other songs and import it into the songs that would make the album and time stretch and then make sure the tone is right to make a complete song. And it was not many of them. So, it's 16 tracks on the album, half and half is solo and other half is features. You know what I'm saying? So there's a lot of melding, a lot of meshing, a lot of remixing, a lot of remastering, a lot of production, a lot of reproduction, the whole nine. And I will truly say that I put everything I had into it. You know what I'm saying? From skill wise to financially as well, because there's no budget, Tip is not involved. Some other management wasn't involved. It was just myself, Frank and Carlton, and Frank White and Carlton Banks. That's it.
Mm-hmm. So. Yo, I have to say, man, after listening to the album, it really is cohesive. It sounds, like he dropped these lyrics yesterday. You know what I'm saying? Like really super good quality. Production wise, lyrically, you can't tell it's something that you had to piece together.
Right.
At no point do I get the sense that you somehow pieced this together. So my hat. I would tip my hat, but I haven't had a haircut since about March. You know what I'm saying?
Trust me, I know. Yeah. I had to cut my own hair for a while. Well, now that I'm back in China, I can get my hair cut. Fairly cheap, actually. So, but yeah, man. Well, a lot of it, was done in 2017. You know what I'm saying? And we fell out again. Me, Frank, fell out over this. If people don't know the backstory, and Frank said something to Tip, T.I., and it really just crumbled everything, you know what I'm saying? And also Frank leaked out the rough draft stuff that was complete up to that point in 2017. Mm-hmm. So it just made things very difficult for myself and for Carlton as well that did the production. So yeah, man, it's crazy.
Now you have a lot of people on here. You have OJ the Juice Man, Young Dolph, you have Rubberman, OG, and Waka Flocka and other folks as well. How was it getting these features? Even Boosie's on here. How was it getting?
Go ahead. It was difficult, man. Like I said, when Frank went at Tip, you know what I'm saying? That shut the door on a lot of opportunities, I would say. And I think Frank knows this. I'm not trying to bash him or anything, because Frank was going through some stuff we were all going through stuff during these whole 7 years dealing with Doe's death. So, but it made things difficult. And to be honest, Carlton reached out to a lot of people, and I do think the features could be better, but I am happy with them. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. They did a good job. You know what I'm saying? I really tried to keep the quality up. There's like maybe one feature I wasn't happy with. You know what I'm saying? So, but it was very difficult, man. And all these features were favors. They weren't paid for. You know what I'm saying? They agreed to do it. And there was one Gucci Man feature that was on there that we had to take off because it wasn't cleared, and probably Gucci doesn't even know about it. So on Serving Everybody, we did put it on YouTube, but that was like timing around the verses when Jeezy mentioned Doe B's name. So it was just good timing to drop and then kind of give some promo to the album somewhat.
So let's talk about you and Frank White. And again, this is really not to rehash the past as much as just to kind of put it on the record. What kind of happened between you two, and how did you get past it?
It all started around 2014. Doe died at the end of 2013. So the head of the admin of the estate at the time was Doe B's father, Kenny, and he was awarded the estate May of 2014, and then he approached me December 2014 to try to put some type of commemorative song together for Doe. And long story short, I said some things to where I basically said, well, Frank was not really involved on the music side, so it's fine, he doesn't have to be. And then Kenny went to him and said it in a way that offended him. You know what I'm saying? And then it was a whole bunch of cuss words, a lot of racial slurs and all that type of stuff. And I just kind of played it off as best as I could. And that was the downfall of everything then. And then, we didn't talk for years. You know what I'm saying? Dariana, Doe B's fiance, I had to reach out to her just to reach out to Frank to sit down with Frank in 2016, end of 2016, because when I saw Red Beezy, there's a guy named Red Beezy that had rehashed some of Doe B's old stuff and did a horrible job. And rest in peace to him, because he died. He got killed later in 2018, 2019, like that, by his mother. And it was around the same time Doe died, which is coincidental. But anyway, I had to sit down with Dariana and Frank, and then also Carlton came to the meeting, and he was reluctant to talk at first, but I had to put my pride to the side just to get this going, because I couldn't see his legacy go down with what Red Beezy did. Rest in peace to him, but it was horrible. You know what I'm saying? And we tried to do it again 2017, and then it fell out again. Over, like, I just want to make sure that the money would go to the right people and all that type of stuff, and we couldn't agree on that, and fell through again. And then also, we just left it alone, and then we tried again, top of 2020, where I reached out to DJ Frosty, who was working at Hot 105.7 in Montgomery at the time, and to conduct a interview on the radio. And we hashed it out, then. And then top of January, it was on go mode, and then the pandemic hit, and that changed some things. I was going to ask you that. How did COVID impact the album? I saw that the peace treaty happened earlier this year, in publicly, that is, and then to see that COVID came in. So it was supposed to come out in the summer. Is that correct, or was that just sort of a tentative date? Yeah, it was a tentative date. We started talking about it in January, and then the pandemic came out of nowhere. So I was prepared to ride it out here. You know what I'm saying? But nobody knows who's lived in a pandemic, so you don't know what's going to go on and how to deal with it.
Right.
So the best thing that we thought we could do was just fly back to the States and then ride it out in the States.
Right.
And I thought that myself, my wife, and my daughter was going to be able to stay in Alabama for a few weeks and then head on back when it was over with.
Right.
It ended up being 7-8 months.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? So that affected everything. And when I left, I didn't take the sessions with me. You know what I'm saying? So, but like I said, the majority of the work was done, or if I did not mention, the majority of the work was done in 2017. Okay. And then I came back around October and November, and then quickly set everything up because I was in a new place and remixed everything again. Reproduced everything again, ran through his entire catalog again to pull some stuff together and put it together fairly quickly. So that's that, man.
Yeah. Now, for people that don't know, I'm cutting my own questioning to give you your props, man. You are literally, of the people that I know personally, like top 5 most talented people I know personally. Like for real, like you are incredible as an artist. But before we get into all of that, because we're going to get into that, but what I find so interesting is that you did the final part of this all from China. So I don't think we noted that you're in China right now, and a lot of this was done virtually, if you will, communicating with people and production. Everything was kind of done long distance.
Yeah.
Can you talk about those challenges, and was that a good thing? Were you just hunkered down, or was that making it more difficult? What was the differences?
I'm happy that I was over here to do it because it was a lot less distraction. But I'm a kind of a loner type of guy anyway. Like I don't need people around. I'm kind of like an introverted type of person. So to work in solitude is my thing. You know what I'm saying? I don't need a lot of people to tell me what to do this and do that. Even though it was a lot of work, probably the most amount of work that I've ever done in my life on an album ever. It didn't feel like work because I love the music. I love Doe as an artist, and I try to keep it as pure as possible. And to me, it was difficult. It's probably next to impossible for somebody else to do it. Not to brag, but it was fairly easy for me to do. I wanted to get everything done and have a track listing and be organized and send it to Frank and Carlton, and then they pick apart whatever needed to be picked apart and then made some adjustments. And that's how it happened. You know what I'm saying? But there was some things like I ain't trying to be negative about that were done that made me not trust Frank and Carlton with having to, make the album better towards the end. So, obviously with the leaks in 2017 and then, Carlton giving one of Doe B's songs to Lil Soldier, which was not in the agenda. But that's a whole nother story that'll be left for probably a book.
Why did you guys call it The Last Definition of a Trapper? What is this a book in kind of deal or?
It made sense. At first, Frank called it No Life After Death, and he put up the picture of Doe B in his casket, and I cringed at it. I think a lot of people did, and a lot of people were upset. Like I said, 2017, he was still going through his thing. So, and I understood it, but I said to him, if his mom approved it, I'll be cool with it, but I don't think his kids will be happy to see something like that. Going to changing the album title, I just recently thought about it. Doe B had previous mixtapes called Definition of a Trapper, which was the first one, and then DOAT 2, and then posthumously it was DOAT 3, and then he had some other mixtapes in between time. So for me personally, with the music that I heard and to make it match up with the album title. I think the last definition of a trapper made plenty of sense because it's the last music of its kind. It's not of this era,
right,
of this geek music era. And, you know what I'm saying? It just made sense with the music. And I tried my best to just mesh everything because I really believe album titles and covers sell and really meld an album, a classic album together. You know what I'm saying? From studying all the greats.
Yeah,
me personally.
Yeah. So let's go back just a little bit. And you and Doe, your relationship, how did you guys formulate a relationship? Was it friends first? Was it business first? Was it respect mutually, musically? How did everything get started?
Yeah, of course, it's business. You know, I ran the studio. I met him in 2008 before he got shot, and he came in to another studio I was working at called Atmosphere to mix some songs, and I liked them. They were very monotone, but we didn't connect for real then. And then he gets shot, and then he comes in to record something for another artist back in 2010 when I started my own studio, and then he decided to record with me then. And it was all business, just like every other artist. But I grew to love his stuff, you know what I'm saying? And, you know, I try not to show any favoritism. You know, when you run a business, people can be very fickle, you know what I'm saying? But I didn't step in until his second mixtape, like officially, like to come up with the track listing and, you know, artwork or whatever like that. So we formed a musical relationship from DOAT2, and that immediately got him signed to Geffen / Universal and G. Roberson's Blueprint Records. So from then on, it was just a very cohesive relationship. He trusted me to do what I needed to do and didn't say much. And if he did, you know, he would change some stuff here and there, but it was very easy to work with him. Very easy.
Yeah.
And he never wrote anything down. I will say that as well. And when he died, he was only 22. So he was like, what Tip said to Jay-Z whenever that was, this was our Biggie of the South that didn't get his chance.
Yeah. Yeah, that's crazy. I never understood how rappers do that. Like, that might have been before phones took over. Like, it might have been just before phones took over. Yeah, I think it's way too many distractions now to be not memorizing stuff. You'll get a note, you have something in your head, and then you'll get a notification and probably just forget it. You know what I'm saying? But no, that's crazy. No, that's, you know, and he really he had a big type of vibe, you know, presence. Not just his size, but, you know, even some of the lyrical sort of cadences and structures and things, you know. So, yeah. So what let's talk about Montgomery a little bit. What's for someone, you know, that's the other beautiful part about Doe B. I feel like we got to know Montgomery, which is something you don't get a lot from artists these days. It's almost like this beige form of hip hop that everyone kind of sounds the same. You don't really get the impression that this person's from a different place than that person. Everybody has the same kind of tones. And but with Doe B, you felt like you were listening to the voice of Montgomery or Alabama. Can you talk about the area a little bit?
Yeah, you know, first off, it's a historical place, you know, Rosa Parks with the whole civil rights movement. And surprisingly, you know, not a lot of artists from Montgomery talk about that type of thing. I wish people did, to be honest. Chica, I feel like, has kind of reflected that, but she's from Montgomery. But he really just told his side of the story, man. And you know, he was a true artist in telling his side of the streets. And you know, what he talked about was, you know, either what he actually did or, you know, a lifestyle that he had been around, you know what I'm saying? And he really, I know me personally, I wanted to approached the mixtape game as an album sense, because to show, the flossy, glossy side of the streets and also show the perils and the negativity alongside it, to make an album, to make a better artist, and to create depth as a character, as a characteristic within albums, to give him the respect that he deserves and wish that he had his chance to show on a larger scale.
Yeah.
So,
okay.
Yeah.
Where did T.I. come into the picture? That was the second time I met Doe B was with T.I. He had signed to Grand Hustle, and there was a lot of energy around him at that point. How does, in the timeline, where does that factor? You mentioned Geffen Records and some other things.
Yeah, Geffen, Universal, he got signed in 2012, I think around August of 2012, right after DOAT 2 dropped in July of 2012. So I was not knowing that at the time. And there's a whole nother story besides that. But anyway, there was not a lot of movement from the label. You know what I'm saying? And I think he got shifted around to Blueprint. And I think Tip is part of that with G and Gene Nelson. You feel what I'm saying? So Frank went to Tip, I think top of 2013, and just let him know, like, man, we need something going. There's not really any movement. And so from then on, Tip agreed graciously to allow him on his Hustle Gang imprint. And there was no paperwork, though. A lot of people think there was some paperwork behind it, but it was like more of like a co-signage. And, they added a third manager that was affiliated with Tip. I think it was B Rich and then Greg Calloway. And Greg is managing Kevin Gates right now, or was, I don't know. Right. So top of 2013, that's when you start seeing the remix with Let Me Find Out with Tip and Juicy J. Right. And then, Doe started to be on the Hustle Gang mixtapes, Get Doe or Die. And then Kimo Sabi comes out with Baby and the Hustle Gang and all that type of stuff. So a lot of movement was started because of Tip. You know what I'm saying? He had a very interesting role, and I felt like he did his job to the best of his ability. And, there's some people, and also from myself, that felt a certain way when he said some things about Doe at his funeral. But, looking back at it, I was taking it personal, and a lot of people were, and Tip did his job. He paid for the man's funeral expenses. And we have to thank him, you know what I'm saying? And not be negative. I wish things were different, though. Like, I really do. But it is what it is.
Did you reach out for any verses or anything to Tip on this one?
Not this one. He was more in tune with DOAT 3, and I really wasn't a part of that posthumously. I didn't really agree with a lot of the stuff that was done. He was supposed to do some verses for CBM, the Coke Block Music, the whole clique that Doe had under him for the CBM mixtape. And it was promised from Tip, or maybe it's hearsay, that he talked to Boston George of CBM and was supposed to do some verses if they held out releasing the CBM mixtape in place of the DOAT 3. Some things didn't happen. Tip didn't do his verses for it or whatever, you know what I'm saying? And a lot of people felt some type of way about that. DOAT 3 drops, and I think it did all right. I think it could have been better. So that's the thing with that.
Okay. This, I don't know if this is an inappropriate question, but when Doe B passed or was, shot and killed, he reportedly was supposed to be recording with Pharrell and T.I. Is this true? Yeah. What, it's hard for me to wrap my brain around that prospect, period. I would have run to the studio, like literally from Alabama to Miami just to do something like that. Was he being who was like managing that situation, for him to actually stay home as opposed to go to such an epic sort of convening.
Right. Frank was his manager, but like Doe had a lot of free reign to do whatever. Like he was actually running the show, to be honest, and setting stuff up and doing what he needed to do. And, he loved his hometown. So I wasn't aware at the time that he was supposed to go down to Miami to record with Pharrell and Tip. And he was supposed to be on the way to do that. And my understanding and from what I know, Doe did not like the club like that. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So it's probably more like a money grab, a walkthrough for him. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. But, it's a club called the Rose. So like everybody and your mama are going to go to this club and all the hoods and all the, beefing hoods is going to go to this place and see each other. And that's what happened. Now, whatever happened inside the club, I know a decent amount of knowledge about that. But, and the Rose is known for like, I hate to say it, but murders and killings, you know what I'm saying, over the years. And I could have been right there with him because I was actually supposed to go to the club that night, but I'm glad I didn't. Yeah. But managing so far, Doe did a lot of his own, and I can only guesstimate that he went there for a walkthrough to get some money, and he saw some people that, he had some problems with, and one thing led to another, and nobody knew people had guns inside of the club.
Right.
And one thing led to another.
Yeah. Are you guys still thinking about a documentary and a book, perhaps? Well, you did mention, maybe a book, but are these things surrounding him still possible?
Yeah. I definitely want to write a book on my side of the story. And I feel like I will tell it in all honesty as possible. And documentary wise, yes, I would love to. It deserves it. It's a tragic story that needs to be heard, and for people to understand not to do the same thing. You know what I'm saying? And there's a lot of moving parts, a lot of crazy stuff, and it might not make a lot of people happy, but it needs to be told. And I will work on that as best as possible myself, with the resources that I have. And I would love to do a documentary, but a book is definitely on my side in the future, whenever that'll be.
Nice. Are we gonna ever hear another Doe B album, or is this, because this is technically his only album? The others were mixtapes. Is that right?
Yeah. But those mixtapes were treated as albums, so they are albums as well. But this is the last of it. Like I said, there was a rumor where, Tip said something and, people were saying like he had 200, 300 songs. But a lot of these songs were incomplete. Maybe a hook on one, no verses, or maybe a verse, or maybe a hook and verse. But they're not very strong songs. Like, you know what I'm saying? It's like, not to get drawn out, but it's like, it's two ways to do things. You can work on songs and perfect like your best 15, right? And then there's another method where you record as many songs as you can and pick the best 15. And that's what Doe did. You feel what I'm saying? And the process was this. We recorded hook verse for a bunch of songs like that, and then pick the best 20 and take the verses from the songs that didn't make it and put it on to the ones that did make it. So the productivity would go a lot quicker. And then, you might still pull a song out of the ones that didn't make it. And that's what I did with the album. But technically, I had to stretch stuff and, make it happen.
Right. Got you. You just gave a little of the secret sauce there.
Yeah.
All right. Okay. Yeah. Now most people don't know that you're a talented producer. They know you're a talented producer, but also you're an artist as well as yourself. Do you have any plans, for the future, or what are you up to these days?
Yes, I definitely want to work on some stuff in the future with a couple other guys, you know what I'm saying, to definitely push that out. You know, I'm not going to talk too much about it. I just want to get it done for the new year and just get to music for fun, you know what I'm saying? And focus on music, not for money, you know what I'm saying? And this Doe B stuff was not for money. Like, I didn't do anything for money, even though the amount of time I put in was probably equal to maybe 50, 60, 70, 80, $100,000 worth of time. You know what I'm saying? But it was the most enjoyable.
Right.
And that's what I miss.
Yeah.
So with this group stuff that, you know, I want to work on in the future, I want to do the same thing. You know what I'm saying? And then stop mixing and mastering for money, maybe in a couple years, and do some other things like trade stocks or cryptocurrency, whatever. You feel what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And just, I don't want to trade my time for money anymore. I want to trade my time for happiness. And there's a way to do it, and I believe it. And you know, just like that Jingle Jangle movie, it says like this: I can because there's nothing that says I can't.
Nice.
You feel what I'm saying?
You getting parables out of little kiddie movies, yo. You and me, we a lot alike, man. We a lot alike. Yeah, we a lot alike. I was just looking at what movie was that? I was just looking at I cannot think of this movie right now, but anyway, I was pulling little gems out of it. Oh, I was watching Wonder Woman. Oh my God, it's a terrible movie. But I was watching Wonder Woman, and I was like telling my daughter, like trying to wake her up. She's like falling asleep on it and trying to get the jewels out of it. But definitely, that's good to hear. Now I see in the back of you there, you got MF Doom and next to Doe B next to MF Doom. That's a crazy clash and combination. Like, is there some what does that represent? Does that mean anything?
No, I mean, I'm trying to get some more artwork in my studio. As you can see on this side, I don't have anything right here, but you know, I kind of just moved in. So, you know, I definitely want to put some more stuff up here, but the MF Doom stuff is like, really, you put me on it, man, to be honest. Like that Microwave Mayonnaise, I still love that record, man. Nice. You know, I'm not a big MF Doom fan, but that, when it mean, like, I feel like I'm more underground hip hop than anything. Most people don't really know who I am, you know what I'm saying? And I feel like with the Doe stuff that could have been, I could have been that Alex Toomey, or it could have been that Juice to Nicki Minaj, you feel what I'm saying? That type of engineer. So it's cool though. Like, I feel like I'm more representative of the underground, and MF Doom is like the epitome of underground hip hop that's super respected. And if I'm in that type of class, I'm cool with that, man. Like, you know what I'm saying? I'm living good with my family. I have a nanny that takes care of my daughter full time, and I'm able to do music full time. And, you know, I don't know what MF Doom is doing, but like, that's the representative, like, underground hip hop, doing it purely for the love and, you know, for the representation of the culture. That's me. You feel what I'm saying? I feel like
that's dope. That's dope. What's China like with hip hop?
China is cool. I haven't really been out and about much like that because I grind very hard. But it's like a new type of thing with hip hop. The government can censor some things here and there. So, but it's fairly new, and they have some good music, good parties, good clubs surrounding, like, you know, old school hip hop to new school hip hop. And, you know, I follow some blogs in WeChat talking about the updates of the hip hop scene from America. So they're hip, man. You know what I'm saying? They know what they're doing. Like, you know, they got some fly clothes over here. You can find them for cheap. You know what I'm saying? So it's cool, man. Like, China is hip. It's new. You feel what I'm saying? So, they're allowing it, you know what I'm saying? And I feel like they could grow a little more on that end. Will I be involved? Probably not. I like to be underground. So,
well, every time I try to get something from China, I got to buy like a 5 to 6X. Excuse me, y'all. My hip hop painting fell on my head. But 4X and under is too small. You know what I'm saying? So,
Yeah.
but they do have some stuff over there for real.
Yeah, like man, even like a size 11 shoe. That's what I wear, and with Nikes, I can't find that in a regular Nike store. I had to go to the main Shanghai Innovation #1 store that's here, which was the first one that was started. And it's a beautiful Nike store, 4 floors.
Wow.
You feel what I'm saying? So I can only find my size there. And they have a zillion Nike stores, a zillion Jordan stores here. So it's plenty of shopping, man. It's probably like at least 100 malls in Shanghai alone.
Yeah, well, I'm hoping to get over there at some point. My mom, we were actually, as a family, my whole family was supposed to come to China. And something happened. I don't know what happened. Anything that happens that's not perfection, my mom gets scared. And my mom got scared, so we didn't make it. But I definitely want to make it over there, man. So we're gonna have to convene on in another form, man, on the world stage or something. Once COVID's over, COVID gotta give it a year or two, and then we'll make it happen, man.
Well, let me know when you come to Shanghai. We can go eat some dumpling soup for about $1.50.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? And it's going to be super good. And I can show you all the spots, all the cheap spots, all the expensive spots, and in between. So just let me know, man. Welcome here, and I will host you. No problem.
Definitely, man. Well, I just want to say, man, I appreciate you, brother. I definitely appreciate your dedication to Doe B, to making the last definition of a trapper come to life, man, because I don't think people do enough of that. It's not enough dedication. It's feels microwave all the time, man. This album, I was playing it in my car, man, and I was playing it with my daughter in the car on top of that. Now, my daughter is a teenager now. I'm giving a little personal information. When we in the car, my daughter always has earphones on because she's always playing somebody else's music in the car that's not what I'm playing. Mm-hmm. But when we were playing Doe B, both times, earlier today and then later when we went out, no headphones at all. So I gotta say, man, you did him justice. And I know the city, I'm looking at the comments, and the city I'm sure they're feeling it. So we got to keep pushing this album a little bit, keep, on our end, promoting it, making sure people hear it, because that's the other half of the game, man, to get people to pay attention in this streaming, microwave music era of, really disposable music almost, Right. So right. I know. Yeah. I got another question for you. I know I talked a long time there, but cool. Are you guys got any plans for vinyl or a physical copy of the album or anything like that?
Yeah, I want to. Just to make mention of what you said earlier, this is done with no budget.
Yeah.
No money, just relationships, the few relationships that I have, more so with Frank and with Carlton, because I'm not in the music business like that. I don't really care to deal with people like that because of the type of character that I am. I'm very real. Yeah. And, you know that. But, I want to, I really didn't want to do that at first for it to be like a money type of thing. You feel what I'm saying? Because there was already issues with that in 2017. Yeah. But if the fans want it, I will, pull out of my own pocket to do that. You know what I'm saying? And just have to figure out the logistics and make sure the money goes the right way. You feel what I'm saying? So me personally, like, I'm not really looking for anything like money wise. Like, I'm really good in my life right now and not expecting anything. And if I did, like, any type of proceeds would go directly to my children and not me personally. You feel what I'm saying? That's my plan. I can't speak for Frank. I can't speak for Carlton. That's my plan. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? And I have the money to press up vinyl and CDs or thumb drive memorabilia for like a limited edition type of thing. But we got to check with Empire to see if they're going to do it or not. Gotcha. If not, I will.
Okay. What about the family? Have they given you feedback on the album? What has been said?
I talked to his mom, what I'm saying? His mom hits me up here and there, and she wanted to talk to me on the phone, but in China, it's hard to talk on the phone. So I told her through Messenger or if she had an iPhone, but we could never talk on the phone. So we just messaged back and forth. But, based on her posts and based on what she's talked to me about, she's happy that everything's come out. You know what I'm saying? It's been very difficult for them to past 7 years. His mom, especially, his sister is in prison right now. You know, his sister has 6 kids, you know what I'm saying? And, you know, I can only do so much financially, you know what I'm saying? All I can do is the side that I'm good at is the music side. You feel what I'm saying? And I've given money to his mom before, and, you know, Frank has before, and have helped her have a place to stay here and there. And, you know, a lot of people have, you know what I'm saying? But it's still, it will never be enough because, you know, Doe at his young age took care of everyone at like 20 and 21, maybe 19, 18 years old until his death, taking care of his whole family. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So it's like he was the definition of a trapper for real. Like he took care of everybody and was trying to do his best. So excuse my daughter screaming. But she's throwing me off. But yeah, his family mostly, you know, from what I understand from his mom, she loves it. His fiance Dariana is on the album. She loves it. She was the one that helped me mend the thing with Frank. As far as everybody else, you know, people from the family or from his clique either like it or don't, you know what I'm saying? But it's a lot of street politics I had to deal with this too. You feel what I'm saying? It's not just music. It's a lot of street politics with this as well. And, you know, it is what it is, man. But for the most part, people are happy.
Yeah, I give you a lot of credit, man. Dealing with those politics is not easy. And I've seen you, you know, on social media really have to manage through that a lot, you know. And I'll be like, yo, I don't know how he deals with this because I know I couldn't. So I got to give you kudos for that. Ultimately, what do you think Doe B's legacy will be or is?
I really don't know, man. I'm kind of still caught in the moment with it. But this album, I wanted to reflect the magnitude of talent that he had, especially towards the end, like tracks 15 and 16, like especially 15, Don't Let Me Drown, where he talks about police brutality in the crazy sense, like, and it's relatable to this year. You know what I'm saying? So me working with him when he was alive, I tried to push him towards that that vein of going to the Jay-Z level where you can transition from the trapper / you know, dealer into an artist. And he was young and he understood that. And this album reflects what could have been. You know what I'm saying? Definitely. Still be able to talk that talk. You feel what I'm saying? And then also do some chick type records like the I Can Be That with Dariana on there. And then the introspective records that talked about society on Don't Let Me Drown. You know what I'm saying? So it could have been great, man. We could have done the biggest things in the world. And I don't want to say how far he could have went, but he could have went very far.
Yeah. I got to agree with you on that one, man. Well, I just want to say, man, appreciate you. Continued success and anything you need, man. All Hip Hop's family got your back, brother. So anything you ever need, just let us know.
I appreciate it, man. And, you know, thankful for the opportunity again to speak on your platform, and everything you do for me is appreciated. You know, I don't try to ask for anything, you know what I'm saying? So anything, man, like from me as well. Like,
well, look, we going to be asking in 2021, you know what I'm saying? Like this is not negotiable. Like we, you know, all y'all people out there, we the givers on this here. This right here is giving, you know what I mean? But sometimes, you know, people got to be reciprocal on that. So, we're gonna do things a little bit different, man, in the upcoming years. So, man. So, rest in peace, Doe B. Baofam, shout out to you, the man. Otherwise, once known as Classic, but still doing classics. You know what I'm saying? Still doing classics.
Yeah, just get my grown man on.
Yes, sir. I appreciate you, man. And we're gonna build soon. All right.
Thank you, man. Thank you. All right. Peace out.